Guys, it is time once again for me to swap out my everyday makeup drawer. So I like to do this at the beginning of every month where I go through my collection and pick out some products that I would like to focus on for the next month. So I'm going to give you a quick recap of what was in my drawer in March, and then we'll pick out some new items to put in. At the end of the video, we'll also do a get ready with me using some of the items that I've chosen. So this is my March drawer. It's looking a little different than usual because my project pan bin is empty. I'm taking a week to not project pan anything before I introduce my Q2 items. So this little bin, that's why it's empty. I'll go ahead and move that out of the way. So this is everything else that I was working with in March. These were the two complexion products I had chosen, the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint and the Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Concealer. Ilia Skin Tint, of course, I love. This is one of my all-time favorite complexion products. Super lightweight, literally feels like skincare, but it has good, like, light to medium coverage, so it just always looks beautiful on my skin. I really enjoyed that, as always. And I think what I've concluded is that I like this concealer, but I don't love it. I wish it had just a little bit more coverage. Honestly, I was expecting it to have more coverage, but sometimes I feel like it just doesn't quite cover my dark circles. Even the Kosas concealer, which I recently used up, I felt like that one had better coverage than this somehow. I don't know if that's just me or what, but pretty much every time I used it, I would use it with the Sigma color corrector, which I just decided to leave this in my everyday makeup drawer permanently because I use it every day. But this with the Tarte concealer, I was very happy with that combination. So yeah, I'm glad I only have the mini of this and not the full size. I'm sure, you know, I'll continue to enjoy it and use it up, but I just don't think it's gonna be one of my all-time favorite concealers or anything. And then these two complexion products, the Sigma corrector and the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder, those two are gonna stay in here forever. So then for cheek products, this one's hiding back here, I had the LYS Cream Bronzer Stick in the shade Motivate. I really like this bronzer stick. I was also, in my project pan, I was working on the Oma Beauty contour stick, and there were quite a few times actually that I wore them together. So what I would do is I would first draw this onto my face, just straight from the stick. I would put like a swipe on each cheek and then a couple swipes on my forehead. Then I would pick up a little bit of the Oma contour stick on a brush and blend the whole thing out with that brush. And it ended up being a really nice combo. This is a pretty warm, like a true bronzer tone. And then the Oma contour stick is, of course, a lot more cool toned. So let me just mix the two together and show you kind of what that does. Yeah, it ends up making a nice, just kind of in between contour and bronzer shade. But yeah, this is a fantastic bronzer stick. I'm really excited to use this in the summer. This is one of those like warm weather products. I feel like I don't reach for such warm bronzers in the winter, but as the weather starts to warm up, I really do enjoy warm cream bronzers like this. And then the blush I picked out last month was the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in the shade Always Cheeky. Really glad that I put this in my drawer. I had mentioned last time the reason I wanted to put this in my drawer was because I do really like this blush. I like the formula, I like the shade. I have nothing against this blush, but for some reason it's just one of my least used blushes. But I really grew to appreciate this blush this past month. I did enjoy wearing it on its own quite a few times, but I also would often wear it on top of my Project Pan blush. This is the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush in Nude Kiss. I would put this on and then top it with this blush, and they're very different shades, of course, but the e.l.f. one would just add a nice little bit of warmth, and it gave just a very warm, sun-kissed effect to my cheeks. I was also really impressed by how easily this blended out on my cheeks. It's all matte, and I barely had to work to get it to blend out. It would basically just like melt into my cheeks, even though it's a powder. So I know this is not a new product at all. It's been out for a while, and I'm honestly not even sure if e.l.f. still sells this, but I am just now starting to really enjoy this, and I'm excited to keep using it throughout the rest of the spring and summer. I love a peachy blush like this, and I love how light it is. I love that I don't have to worry too much about going overboard, you see. It's just ever so slightly deeper than my skin tone, so it's just very easy to pull off. So really enjoyed that. And the highlighter that I picked, the Nabla Skin Glazing in the shade Privilege, this ended up being a perfect companion to that blush. This is like a peachy golden highlighter, and that peach undertone that it has almost perfectly matches this e.l.f. blush. So together they just looked perfect. But I swear, every time I pull this highlighter back out, I fall more and more in love with it every time I use it. And I've liked it ever since I bought it, but I just feel like it's one of those products that grows on me more and more the longer I have it, the longer I use it. And you can see this month I feel like I really wore down that Nabla imprint quite a bit. So nice to see some more like visible usage in this product. I love it so much. I almost just never want to take it out of my everyday makeup drawer, but I do need to give my other highlighters some love, so I will put this back, but I'm sure this will be making another appearance in my everyday makeup drawer very soon. I'll go ahead and share. These were the two palettes I had put in my drawer last month, but if you missed it, I did decide to start doing a seasonal palette basket where I put kind of like my spring capsule palette collection. And so that's where my Shop My Stash palettes are now going to live. I'm not going to be putting palettes in my everyday makeup drawer from now on because I just have all my seasonal palettes in a basket that I'll be reaching from. But these were the two palettes I had selected for March at the start of the month. We have the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette and the Hard Candy Envy quad. Unfortunately, I didn't get another chance to use that Hard Candy quad anymore in March, but that is still staying in my spring basket, so I'm sure I'll get some more chances to use that for the rest of the spring. And then the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette I did use several times. I just love how many different types of looks you can get with this. I know I did one look that was very like olivey. I just used that olivey taupe shade there, rock bottom all over the lid. Another time, actually most recently when I used this, I did like an all blue monochrome look with these three shades down here, these three blues, and then a little bit of this deeper matte blue abyss in my outer corner. Ended up looking very 90s, early 2000s kind of with those frosty blues, but I thought it was really fun. I still think that's such a classic look. So really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to continuing to use both of these palettes throughout the rest of the spring. I just think they're both perfect for spring. I also had pulled in this single shadow. This is the ColourPop Magnetic Single in the shade La Playa. It's a mint green, and I did manage to use this several times. Mostly I would use it in my inner corner as just a little pop of green. I love doing that in the spring, just a little pastel in the inner corner. I would love to hit pan on this year. You can see I have a pretty big dip going. This might be something I roll into my project pan soon. I had also picked out these two green eyeliner pencils. One I don't think I used at all, the CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus in gray khaki. I might have used it once, but I kind of forgot. I think I accidentally put it back in my eyeliner cup at some point this month, and then I forgot to use it, so oh well. And then the Urban Decay 24/7 eye pencil in Overdrive, I actually used this quite a few times actually. Most of the time I'd use it on my lower lash line and just kind of smudge it out, but there were a few times I also wore it on my upper lash line. Normally I think of this as like a holiday green because it is a very nice deep evergreen type shade, but since I was wearing a lot of greens this month, it ended up pairing really well with a lot of the palettes I was playing with. The Odin's Eye Sea Talk palette, the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette, and a few others. I was just doing a lot of green this month, and this ended up looking really pretty with those. So glad I got some more use out of that liner. And then these were all of the lip products I had pulled out. So one of these I was hoping to finish. This is the Kokie lip liner in Nude. I was hoping to finish this up in March, and I came really close. I have literally probably one use left. Can you even see that tiny nub? I'll probably use it one more time and then toss it in my empties bin. But yeah, I would say that was a pretty successful, kind of just wanted to go ahead and finish that off because I already have a backup of this waiting to be opened. These three lip products are all ones that I'm hopefully gonna pan this year, so I kind of just wanted to give myself a little head start on these. So first we had the Mented Peach Lip Pencil. This is all I have left of that one. This is such a great peach color. It's not too like brown, it's not too orange or anything, it's just a great nude peach. That paired really well with this Burt's Bees Gloss Lip Crayon in the shade Santorini Sunrise. This is another one that I want to use up this year. That's also all I have left. So I think this is going to be a good year for panning lip products, just saying. But those two made a lovely combo. I always love getting into like more peachy nude lips this time of year. Then I had the Tower 28 Gloss in the shade Pistachio. I've heard that these are really quick to use up, and I feel like I already made a lot of progress just having it in my everyday makeup drawer for the past month. Even though these are all potential project pan items, I'm not sure I'm going to put them all in my project pan at the same time, I might. But for now, I'm going to put all of them back into my collection and pick some other things out from my everyday makeup drawer, and then I probably will select at least 1 or 2 of these to go in my upcoming Q2 project pan. Stay tuned for that. That intro will be coming up in the next week or so. Then the other lipstick I picked was just this fun pink one. This is the Urban Decay Vice lipstick in the shade Art Walk. I was wearing this in my Q1 project pan finale. I feel like that looks really pretty with green eye looks, which, as I said, I was wearing a lot of those this month. So now we have a nice blank slate here to put some new products in. Let's go ahead and go through my collection and pick out some new products to work on in April. Okay, so starting with my face drawer, which is looking a little full. For foundation, I think I want to pick out 2 foundations this time. The first one I want to grab is my ColourPop Pretty Fresh. The reason I want to grab this one is because I'm starting to film my sunscreen demos for my upcoming K-Beauty sunscreen roundup, which will be coming at the end of April. And for all of my demos, I film one clip of what the sunscreen looks like under foundation, and I always want to use the same foundation for each one. And the reason I'm going to use this one for those is because it's just a very middle of the road foundation in terms of coverage and finish. It's a very flexible formula. It works well under a lot of different things. So that's going to be the main sunscreen that I'm using. But I also want to pick out another one. I'm also going to pull out my Physicians Formula Butter Believe It foundation because I've just been really enjoying this. I used it 3 or 4 times last week and I just love the way it looked. I mixed it with my e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter, and that was just such a beautiful combo. I want to keep wearing that. So normally I just pick one foundation, but sometimes it's nice to have a couple of options. For concealer, I'm going to dig down here because this is probably the one that's been used the least recently since it was all the way at the bottom of this container. This is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer. I love this concealer, and this actually kind of reminds me of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation in a weird way. Like, they both have a similar finish and just weight on the skin, you know? They're both like pretty lightweight, sort of a satin matte finish, and just really comfortable on the skin. So I think those will make a pretty combo. So that should do it for base products. For cheek products, I really want to pull out this face palette. This is the Aether Beauty Amber Cheek Palette. It's a little trio with 2 blushes and a highlighter. I do not use this trio enough. I don't even remember the last time I used it, but it is so beautiful for the spring. I love these 2 coral shades. I like that they're coral without being very orange. They're really more like reddish in undertone. Yeah, anytime I wear these, I really like the way they look. I just forget to reach for this little face palette. It also has a really pretty highlight. It's more of like a yellowy golden type of highlighter. Here's what that looks like. Yeah, I think these are the only blushes I'm gonna pick out for this rotation. Well, maybe I'll pick a cream blush too. Let's do my e.l.f. I'm gonna pick something a little bit more cool tone since these are both pretty warm blushes. I'm gonna grab my e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Maui. This is a bit more of a neutral pink with a little bit of a golden sheen. So that'll be nice when I want to wear a cream blush or if I want something a bit more muted or cool toned. And since this highlighter is also pretty golden, I'm gonna grab another shade just in case I want to wear something different. Actually, let's just stick with the Aether Beauty theme and grab this one. This is a more cool toned highlighter from them. It's their Crushed Diamond Highlight in Pure Diamond Dust. Really pretty silvery pink. Oh, I love this one. For bronzer, since I'm getting back into warm tones again, let's pull out my Soul Body Bronzing Balm. I love this bronzer. The formula is so nice and buttery, very creamy, blendable. I haven't worn this much. I don't really reach for this type of bronzer tone in the winter. It's actually kind of similar to that LYS one that I was loving in March. Yeah, those two are actually pretty similar. So I think if I was enjoying this LYS shade, I will probably also get a lot of use out of this Soul Body one. So that'll be my cream bronzer. I'll also go ahead and pick out, let's see. Yeah, for powder bronzer, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush bronzer in Fair. I feel like I used this a ton last year. This year I haven't used it quite as much just because I was using my Oma contour stick so much that this one kind of fell by the wayside. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with this lovely bronzer. Next drawer down is my lip products. One that I know I want to pull out is this lip crayon from Bite. This is the Bite lip crayon in Stinger. I wore this recently and it made me want to wear it more. So this is a really fun red coral shade. I feel like it's hard to find a good coral with a lot of red to it like this one. This is a really unique shade to me, and I think it's going to be really pretty with those Aether blushes as well. I think that would make a nice pairing. That'll be our bold lip, and then let's also pick a nude. Let's do this one actually from Estate. This one I don't wear very often, but this is the Estate Lip Thirst in the shade Pink Pony. Much more cool toned. This is like a mauve nude with quite a bit of purple to it. It's really pretty. I think that'll be nice with some like softer, more cool tone spring looks. I think that'll be pretty with like pastel eyeshadows as well. So that'll be my go-to nude lip. And then for lip gloss, I actually know exactly what combo I want. I'm just gonna pull it out right now. So these two, I think these two make such a lovely combo, especially for this spring as I'm reaching into a lot more warm tones and corals and peaches. So this is the Essence Soft and Precise Lip Pencil in the shade Happy. I would call this like a nude, warm, pinky coral. It's kind of hard to see on my hand what it looks like, but on the lips, I feel like it pulls like a nice, just like warm, soft peach. And I really like the way that looks underneath this Urban Decay Plumping Shine Balm in the shade My Dude. This is like a sheer coral gloss. I would love to use this up this year. It's kind of on my radar to try to pan this year, but that's what that looks like. Just a nice sheer pinky coral. You can see next to that Essence lip pencil, they work really well together. So that'll probably be my more comfortable, glossy lip combo. So those are gonna be all the lip products. Nice little mix there of different types of shades. All right, so next for my eyeshadow drawer, I don't need to pick any palettes because I have all my spring palettes in my spring palette basket, but I am going to pick a couple of like liquid and cream shadows. So I wanna pick one of these Hard Candy. I have these Hard Candy liquid shadows. And let's see, which one do I want to pick for April? I think I'm going to do this like blue one, this bluish green one. The shade names aren't on here, but it's just the blue one, like this aqua blue. I'll go ahead and swatch it. Yeah, that's what that looks like. I think that'll be really pretty in the inner corner or as a topper. I haven't used this shade yet actually, but I have used the pink and purple one, and I do like these. I feel like they're a little bit almost too wet. They take a little while to dry, so they can be a little bit finicky, but I guess I'd rather them be too wet than too dry and then dry out quickly. But they are really pretty, so let's grab this one. I also like the packaging, how it's kind of flat. Reminds me of something, but I'm not sure what. Is there like a high-end product that looks like this that I can't think of right now? And then the other one I want to pick out is this one from Danessa Myricks. This is their Infinite Chrome Flakes in the shade Strobe Light. So it's really kind of just a cream shadow, or almost reminds me of like the ColourPop Jelly Much shadows. It's very jelly in there. Depending on how much you apply, you can get like a really, really intense foiled look, or it can be more of like just a glimmery topper. But it has this beautiful iridescent like pink and purple and blue shift to it. Yeah, I think that'll also make a nice topper, especially with a lot of the pastel and colorful looks I'm thinking about doing this month. So yeah, let's put those in for some extra eyeshadow options. I'm also going to pull out one of my singles to put in this Z palette. I like to have one single shadow in here in my everyday makeup drawer. I think I'm actually going to do one of these. These are all from Clarity. Like I said, I've been really into greens lately, so I think I'm going to do this one. This is the Clarity single in the shade Capri Sun. Really fun lime green. Weird place to swatch it, but that's what that looks like. It's a lime green with like a golden shift. Beautiful. Ooh, I almost forgot to pick out some eyeliners. So let's do that. Let me do, since I'm really just in a colorful mood, I want to pull out this liquid liner. This is the Revolution liquid liner in the shade Sky Blue. A lovely cobalt blue shade. That I think will be really fun. That'll be fun with this Danessa Myricks shade. I think those will make a really nice combo. And then I kind of want to grab an eyeshadow crayon as well. I will go ahead and pull out my NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. This is a white eyeshadow stick. This is really good to wear underneath pastels to help them pop, which I imagine I'm going to be wearing a lot of pastels this month, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in my everyday makeup drawer. Alright, so I think that is everything that I wanted to put in my drawer. Let's go ahead and do a get ready with me using some of these products. I want to go ahead and start with my ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. I actually am doing one of my sunscreen demos right now. Today I'm using the Benton Mineral Sun Cream. I know I said a while back I thought this might have irritated my skin, but I determined that this was not what irritated my skin after all. At least I'm pretty sure. I guess we'll find out today, but I'm pretty sure it was not this that bothered my skin. So we're putting it to the test again today. But let's go ahead and apply some of this foundation. Usually do a full pump of that. Then for my concealer, I'm going to do these two, the Sigma Color Corrector and the Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer. And I always just do kind of a mix of both of these shades. Oh, you guys, I think I have hit pan on this. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, yeah, I did hit pan on this. Wow, I'm surprised I hit pan so quickly. I've only had this for a couple of months. I've had this since January. Been using it almost daily. I do use this deeper shade a little bit more than this one, but yeah, wow, that's exciting. Cool. Alright, so Urban Decay. I haven't used this concealer in so long. I remember last summer I was using this almost every day, and unfortunately, I think they discontinued this. They might still have it on their website, or, you know, marked down in certain retailers, but yeah, I think they have phased this out. Urban Decay seems to discontinue their complexion products on a pretty regular basis. Seems like after something's been out for a couple years, they replace it with something new, which annoys me, as I'm sure it does many people. Because, like, this is such a good concealer, and now it's no more. I think I am just gonna stick to powder products today. So I'm just gonna set my face now with the e.l.f. Halo Glow. So I want to use these products for my cheeks. Definitely want to use the Aether Beauty cheek palette. This is so pretty. I remember a couple years ago when I first got this, I was using it a ton, and now it just kind of sits in my drawer. Even though I love these blushes so much, I don't know what my problem is with cheek palettes. I just forget to use them. I'm much more of a singles kind of person when it comes to cheek products, but I want to wear both blushes today. I'm going to start with a little bit of this deeper one, not too much because it is pretty pigmented, and I want to mainly focus that here in the outer part of my cheek. I guess actually, you know what, let me go ahead and do bronzer first. Let me do bronzer first and then blush. It's typically the order I go. Got a little ahead of myself there. I'm going to do some Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. Okay, so now going into this Aether cheek palette, I am picking up just a little bit of that deeper shade, focusing it out here, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit of the lighter shade, and that I'm just blending more inward, like towards the apples of my cheeks, and of course blending it into that deeper shade. Speaking of Aether, I don't know what's going on with this brand. I know they left Sephora. They're no longer sold in Sephora, which stinks if you ask me, because I love this brand. And I know, like, they've had just a bunch of their products marked down on their website really regularly, and I don't know, I hope they're doing okay, because I really love their products. And I know they're a bit more of like an indie brand, even though they were sold in Sephora. They're still a relatively small brand, so I hope they're doing okay. I know the past few years have not been kind to a lot of makeup brands, so I don't want to speculate though. I'm just really just hoping that Aether is okay. That's all. Yeah. That's so pretty. Love that color. Yeah, I have got to use this more often. Let's go ahead and use this highlighter also. A little bit more yellow than I typically go, but I think the color will go nicely with these warm coral blushes. Yeah, that's really pretty. Aether makes a good highlighter. This one is a lot more finely, like, it's definitely very intense, but it has much more fine shimmer to it compared to their single highlighters, which are a little bit more sparkly on the cheeks. And these are some of the smoothest, least textured looking sparkly highlighters I've ever found. But the one in this cheek palette is definitely a different type of formula. I like both a lot though. Yeah, there's that. Ooh, that's pretty. This is gonna be really pretty in the summer also. I'm gonna go ahead and prime my lids, still using the CoverGirl Lid Lockup eyeshadow primer. Let's see which of my palettes I want to use. You know what? Let's use this, the palette that I depotted a couple weeks ago, the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. This is in my spring palette rotation, and I haven't used it yet since depotting it, so I've been meaning to. So let's go ahead and use it today. And I want to use one or both of these two liquidy cream shadows that I picked out, the Danessa Myricks and the Hard Candy. I'm not sure which one yet. Kind of want to do a peach and blue. Thinking I might want to use this Hard Candy liquid shadow in the inner corner and then have a peach look on the lid. I'm going to start with this light peach shade. I don't know the shade names of these anymore ever since I depotted them, but this light matte peach color is the one I'm dipping into now. Ooh, that looks so nice. That actually ties in really well with the cheeks. And if you're wondering, lately I've been doing my brows after I do my eyeshadow. I used to do them before, but sometimes I feel like my eyeshadow brush messes up my brows, so lately I've been doing it as the last step. Okay, next, keeping with that peachy row, I'm gonna dip into this slightly deeper peach matte, and I'm just adding that to the crease, focusing it a little bit more in the crease, just adding a little bit more depth here. It's obviously still pretty pastel, but just adding a little more definition. Okay, so next, I think I'll just go ahead and use all four of these peachy colors. I'm gonna grab some of this shimmer here, the deeper of the two peach shimmers, has a little bit more pink to it as well. And that I'm going to apply here on the outer half of my lid. And then I'm gonna pick up some of this lighter peach shimmer. That's gonna go on the inner part of my lid. This palette makes so much more sense laid out this way. Not to toot my own horn, but I mean, I literally just arranged the shades by color, and it makes a lot more sense in my brain now. Lighter one in the inner. Now I'm kind of wondering if this is going to look good or not. Does that work or no? I feel like it will. I think peach and blue typically work together. I'm just gonna try it. Let's just dot a little bit there in the inner corner, and then, you know what, I'll just tap it out with a finger. It's just... Okay, I do think a brush makes it a little bit easier to blend this out than the finger method. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, I think that's really pretty with the peach. What do you guys think? It's very glittery, more glittery than I expected. All right, while I wait for that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and do my brows with the usual NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel. All right, I think I'm just gonna do a black liquid liner. I'm just using my Essence 24 Ever ink liner that I hate, but that I also won't get rid of. Just keep on using it. Yeah, I just did a really tiny wing. I didn't want anything too bold, just something to frame my upper lash line a bit. And I think I'm actually just gonna leave the lower lash line free of any liner. So I'm just gonna fill in my brows a little bit with the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pen. Ooh, I'm excited because I get to open a new mascara because I just retired my Rimmel mascara, which I was not loving. So I'm finally trying out the Tarte Maneater mascara. I've had this little mini for a while now and just haven't opened it yet. Let's see what we think. I don't even know what to expect. Ooh, okay, so it's a nice rubber bristle brush. It has pretty short bristles. I like the brush so far. This tends to be my favorite type of brush. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so far it's very subtle. Sometimes it takes a few uses or even a couple weeks for a mascara to really reach its prime. So I'm not gonna necessarily judge it based on the way it looks today, but it's definitely very subtle. It is lengthening and it is separating my lashes nicely. I think this is actually the first Tarte mascara I've ever tried. I'm gonna build up another layer over here, just see how much I can build it up. Okay, so it's building nicely. Okay, I'm actually liking this. Took a little bit of warming up, but I do feel like it's already giving me a bit more oomph than it was at first. That's a really pretty fluttery look there. I like that. What is this mascara supposed to be? Voluptuous, it says. This brush is already so much more manageable than the Rimmel one I was using before. That brush was so big, I would always make a mess and get, dots of mascara all over the place, but so far that hasn't happened with this one, which I'm very pleased about. So, okay, so there's that mascara. And I guess I did get a little bit on my lid here, but that's not a huge deal. Looking up close, I actually really like the way my lashes look. They do look thicker, they look separated, they look lengthened, but so far so good. Let me know, have you tried this mascara from Tarte? Okay, so for the lips, I feel like we could go either way with the coral lip options that I picked. I could do this Urban Decay gloss with the Essence lip liner, or I could do the Bite Stinger lip crayon. I'm kind of leaning towards Bite Stinger. Let's put it on and see what we think. Is that like too much coral with this eye look, or is it just enough coral? I think it works. I like it. Okay, so there's the finished look. I really love how this turned out. It got me really excited to keep using all of these products throughout the rest of the month. Really been having fun with colorful makeup again. This time of year, I always get back into colorful eyeshadows and just colorful makeup in general, so really excited. Definitely look forward to seeing these products in action throughout the next month. But as always, thank you so much for hanging out today. I hope you had fun. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.